Hi there, I'm Goradia. I'm a somatic experiencing practitioner on the non-dual path. I have a previous video on limerence here that I will link, but I've got some more information and insight on it. So I'm going to talk about limerence in the paradigm of attachments. And I do have a playlist, which I'll link here, called Somatic Freedom, that has a collection of videos talking about attachments and how to break them. So I hope that will be helpful for you. Limerence is, in this context, a attachment to another person that constitutes constant obsessive thoughts, sometimes romantic, sometimes not romantic, and a deep longing to have those feelings reciprocated. And people can go through all sorts of highs and lows and feeling lovesick and melancholy and so many things based on this internal fantasy, this internal desire, based on interactions with that person. And with all the fantasy that is going on here, I want to introduce another term, which is called fantasy bond. And this fantasy bond is a way that I can think and feel that I'm connected to someone when I'm not. And so these can be very much correlated. And many people, they developed this sort of coping mechanism when they were young if they didn't have an actual bond with a parent or, the community, and they had to somehow cope. And these fantasy bonds, this limerence, it can produce dopamine. And there can be very much this feedback loop where it feels like there's a reward and it's coping. It may have been a necessary strategy. Many people who've had traumatic childhoods, they'll go into daydreaming or fantasy in order to just check out from the present moment. It's a form of dissociation. And so when we think about this limerence and this fantasy bond and what can I do? How can I break out of this? And you can notice it's a form of grasping. It's a form of ego, mental grasping. And when I'm putting my happiness contingent on getting something that is outside of my control, there's a lot of suffering that goes along with that. So we can see okay, this was a coping strategy, or maybe this is a coping strategy for present situations. What am I trying to not feel? What is this strategy trying to help me avoid feeling? What is it covering like a Band-Aid? And so if I feel alone and I really want to, not feel alone and I want this person or I want this fantasy situation, then instead of trying to get something, let's see if we can lose something. Let's see if we can go into the loneliness. Okay, what if I never got it? What then? What do I have to feel? Oh, I have to feel this loneliness inside of me. And then if we can allow ourselves to be with that and feel that through, that will help collapse the correlated thought, the correlated strategy that was trying to help us simply not feel it, by saying, okay, I'm ready and I'm willing to feel anything. I mean, my goodness, limerence is such a roller coaster. You're already feeling so much. You have the capacity. It's about what happens if I slow down and land in this present moment. What deep-seated stuff do I have to feel to then not need this strategy anymore? I hope this helps as a way to navigate some of these strategies that in and of themselves, they can start causing further pain. And then what happens when we indulge in fantasy is we're indulging in all sorts of ego building, things that, and it's very innocent, so don't beat yourself up if this is kind of the structure of your ego. If this happens, then I would be happy. And if that happens, I would be happy. And what we're doing is we're kind of setting ourselves up for a fall. Like, as much as I build an expectation and then my happiness is dependent on that expectation being met, and then what are the odds that it's going to be met? We have to really look at things, what's the probability of that happening the exact way that my fantasy set up to help me not feel. And then when that doesn't happen, I mean, I wished for everyone peace and happiness, but if it's like, I can only get it if it comes in a certain way, and the odds of that might not be there, and it doesn't happen, or it doesn't happen as soon as I want, or in the exact way that I want, then I have to feel the crashing down of that expectation not being met. So when that part of the ego crashes, I'm obligated to feel whatever it was helping cover, whatever feeling it was helping me not feel. And so I could be living this roller coaster like this, not realizing what is the cause. And it's that I'm making my happiness contingent on these external fantasies and expectations that are outside of my control for if they happen or not. I can try, and I hope, if it's a relationship that is healthy for you and that you want, and I hope you get it. So please don't take this as that it can't happen. It can, but just look at the cost and the way that we're going about something. Whereas if I'm living on the ground of existence, like I'm just here and I'm here in the present moment and what's in front of me, and okay, I'm willing to feel whatever difficult emotions arise, and I'm not indulging my psychological thoughts or my ego, well, then I'm going to be in a very stable position mentally, emotionally. And that is actually when we have the greatest capacity to be in a relationship and to attract one that is healthy and that is in alignment with our being. No relationship can work unless it is in relationship with our being. It's really important to let that one land. So when I'm in fantasy, I'm not really in alignment with my being. It may seem like a harmless thing to indulge in, but it can really set us up for a big fall and countless ups and downs. So I hope this is helpful. Please feel free to share your thoughts below. And I wish you relief and peace. Okay, take care. See you next time.